But that's why we always give bands a second chance.
Do we? Don't
Always
quote us on that.
sometimes give bands a second chance. So anyways, we are back with another reaction, and we're going to be reacting to Motionless in White again.
For the whopping second time.
Yeah. The first time, we were not very kind, and called them a hardcore Breaking Benjamin, but I feel like that's sort of who they are.
And I think it's okay.
And
it's okay.
That's okay.
There's a time place for everything. The last thing we reacted to was their song Disguise. And for me, there was nothing wrong with it necessarily. They are talented, absolutely, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. It just seemed a little bit campy. It almost seemed like a Saturday Night Live satire on metal music. Well, you know, like that's kind of the vibe I got from it. Again, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
They're good.
So for me, they fall a lot under the lines of the way like Kiss is people.
Yeah.
Right? Like you see them, of course, and I'm drawing similarities because of corpse paint and stuff like that. But you see the way that they dress, how they present themselves, right? And then when Kiss starts playing, you're like, oh, this is dad rock, right? Like this is, you know.
Yes. The presentation versus what is being served are two very different vibes, which is again fine.
But it was not what was expected.
Not what was expected. Josh has been listening to a lot of new music. He's been listening to a lot of new stuff. I have not been listening to new stuff, which is, again, if you're not new here, you know that that's how it goes in this household. And he listened to this song when I guess right after it first came out, and right off the bat he was like, "I think you'd actually like this one," and I was like, "Do you?"
Yeah.
Would I?
Yeah, and so this one features, I can't remember his name.
I almost said Gary Busey. That's wrong.
That's incorrect. But the guy from Knocked Loose.
Brian Garris. Brian. I just feel bad having said Gary Busey instead. That's rude.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be one of their heavier ones. Like that's what they said when they put out this song. Is that this is one of the heavier songs that they've put out. And I was not disappointed. So
because most of the time when bands are like, we've never put out anything heavier in our lives, right? You listen to it and you're
going
like,
back
I'm
to
sorry.
Our roots.
Was that a hymn?
Right. So, all right, you ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready to.
Oh, there's not even a video?
It's like a visualizer, yeah.
You made a deal with the devil in a bloodbath. Now there's a price on your head, feel the contract. Automatic, systematic. We want our pound of flesh and waste like stick. Kill 'em all, no successors. Flip the script and oppress the oppressors. Finding strength as we sniff through the carnage. We want our pound of flesh and we'll take it. You fucking fascist! You fucking pig!
Is that why you think I'm gonna like this song?
maybe a little bit. No, but honestly, like that, this sound is what I expect when I see Chris Motionless.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
And it's not what they always give us.
I was gonna say I cannot lie. This is gonna sound so shitty. Not seeing Chris, like not seeing his visual attached to this sound, I like it a little bit more than I think I would if it was an actual video with him in it. Just because
the first song
the first song I was just like, okay.
Yeah. It's
like
sort of it's a little bit more of like a blind taste test or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like I'm not having like preconceived ideas because I'm not seeing him and I'm not being like, oh yeah, this guy who I'm not a big fan of. I guess maybe this song will be okay. Like, since I'm not looking at him, I'm not thinking that, and I'm just listening to this as if it's someone that I didn't actually know who it was.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Yeah,
and
blind taste test.
with all of their heavier stuff, when his clean vocals come in, I tend to like that song
Mm-hmm.
pretty well. But
Yeah.
when it's a song that's mostly the just like the dad rock clean vocals style, I don't know. I
Not a real dad then.
not a real dad, I guess. Anyways,
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Packaged up and sold for scraps. Evade the butcher's tax and write us off. And it's hard to stop the bleeding, hung from hooks and barely breathing. But we'll break down the wall again. You'll tell your stories of the days that you went through, but they're as fast as the chain that you ride through. Nobody's buying what you sell. In the land of the free, you're a slave to your wealth.
That was a good blast.
Right?
Yeah, you fucking pig. This is the consequence of your lives. You sit back as we collapse, left to fight over scraps, while you auction off our backs to buy your crown. It's hard to stop the bleeding, hung from hooks and barely breathing. But we'll break down the wall again. Break down the wall. One mutilation under God.
And then a good breakdown too.
Good breakdown.
Yeah.
God is the cross, devil in the nails. What you gonna buy with all your money in hell? God is the cross, devil in the nails. What you gonna buy with all your money in hell? You sit back as we collapse.
So there's screams going back and forth.
Mhm.
So Brian's is the higher pitched one.
Mm.
And so I think he doesn't really hit the palette for a lot of people. It's
Mhm.
a little bit more chorus, a little bit more like shrilly.
Yeah.
I like that, and I
Mhm.
really like it with Chris's harsh vocals as
Mhm.
well. And then going
It's all
straight
about
into
balance.
right, it is
Yeah.
about balance because then going straight into his cleans, like Chris has really good cleans.
I maybe was like a little bit too harsh the first time around. Maybe. Probably.
Maybe, but that's why we always give bands a second chance.
Do we?
Always
quote us on that.
Sometimes give bands a second chance. Anyways,
You sit back as we collapse, packaged up and sold for scraps, while you auction off our backs to pay the tax. Eye for an eye! Victims of your invention, all we've got a cooling tension. Now break down the wall again. Break down the wall again. Cut you up, cut you down at your knees. Watch you beg like a rat for your luxuries. Cut you up, rip the teeth from your mouth. You won't survive in this slaughterhouse. Die! Cut you down at your knees. Watch you beg like a rat for your life.
I love the slowing of the tempo.
so good, right? Super sludgy.
Rip the teeth from your mouth. You won't survive in your slaughterhouse.
What?
Right?
Ew.
Uh,
Right, all right. Right.
So what do you think?
It's good.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like super
Like
good.
super good for a whole bunch of different reasons. I want to read the lyrics. I don't want to talk about the lyrics because uh
Yeah.
I think it's saying a lot.
Uh-huh.
A lot of
Uh-huh.
obvious things, but I think there are definitely some kind of more subtle jabs, if you will.
Yeah, like this is the stuff that I want Chris to put out all the time. But I also know that he has a huge fan base that listens to more of the
Mhm.
this is the
But
stuff.
this was good.
Yeah.
This was really, really good. And it goes back to what we were saying. Like it really is all about balance. And hearing these two different vocalists with really different styles, hearing the collab, and hearing how full and well rounded it can sound.
Yeah.
It's all about balance, guys. It's all about
Well,
balance.
because I will also say that having some nice melodic vocals
Mhm.
with or rather makes Brian's vocals, right? Yeah, Brian. It makes his a little bit more palatable to
Yeah.
and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think
Because we are fans of more people listening to metal. We are fans of, yes, let the mainstream media grab a hold of this. That's why I do, I was kind of complaining about what's his face and his TikTok. Who were you talking about? Last Ben McKenty talking about
oh
intros.
yeah.
That you're like he's on that like TikTok grind,
Yeah.
you know. And on one hand, but also like TikTok has brought a lot of creators together, creators
Right.
who normally wouldn't collab together. And we've gotten to see some really, really, really fantastic stuff come out of it.
Right.
So I don't remember where I was going with that.
That's okay.
Anyway, Slaughterhouse by Motionless in White. Break down the wall again. You made a deal with the devil in a bloodbath. Now there's a price on your head. Seal the contract. Automatic, systematic. We want our pound of flesh, and we slice thick.
So good.
Kill 'em all, no successors. Flip the script and oppress the oppressors. Finding strength as we sift through the carnage. We want our pound of flesh, and we'll take it. You fucking fascist, you fucking pig.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying we should bring back guillotines, but like, anyway, you sit back as we collapse, packaged up and sold for scraps. Evade the butcher's tax, then write us off. And it's hard to stop the bleeding, hung from hooks and barely breathing, but we'll break down the wall again. Tell your stories of the things that you've been through, but they're as false as the teeth that you lie through.
So good.
Nobody's buying, but you sell. In the land of the free, you're a slave to your wealth. You fucking fascist. Die, you fucking pig. This is the consequence of opulence.
Yeah.
I'll say all my things at the end. You sit back as we collapse, left to fight over scraps, while you auction off our backs to buy your crown. Force-fed the lies, and it's hard to stop the bleeding, hung from hooks and barely breathing. We'll break down the wall again. Break down the wall again. One mutilation under God. God in the cross, devil in the nails. What you gonna buy with all your money in hell? God in the cross, devil in the nails. What you gonna buy with all your money in hell? You sit back as we collapse, packaged up and sold for scraps. While you auction off our backs, you pay the tax, eye for an eye. Victims of your invention, all we've got are cruel intentions, but we'll break down the wall. Break down the wall again. Cut you up, cut you down at your knees. Watch you beg like a rat for your luxuries. Cut you up, rip the teeth from your mouth. You won't survive in your slaughterhouse. Die. Cut you up, cut you down at your knees. Watch you beg like a rat for your luxuries. Cut you up, rip the teeth from your mouth. You won't survive in your slaughterhouse. There are so many things. There are so many things happening in this. And I think this is touching on some really, really, really important current events that we are watching happen in real time.
Right.
And I just said in our last video that back in 2020, I mentioned that we were going to see a lot of this very political narrative, this very blatant narrative discussing what is happening in our world. And the fact of the matter is, like, billionaires shouldn't exist. It is absurd that they exist. The state of our United States is just ridiculous.
Right.
It is just ridiculous.
Right. Well, and then so then going into like this kind of describes a whole lot of the political field, or rather politicians as a whole.
Yep.
Right. There's so many of them that like preach that they are of the people, that they are hardworking, or they're from the working class, or they're doing this for you. And time again, it doesn't matter which ones they are, even like the good ones that you see or whatever. They're still in it for themselves. I don't know if I could ever trust a single politician. Right. And you just see it all over the place. And it's rough because we're in like this political divide, this like right versus left sort of thing. But so many people won't just like look at it and say, oh, okay, this is more of a class divide. And the political class and the wealthy class, they are the ruling class, and they've got us divided. And it's only a matter of time before people actually decide that enough is enough. And we start to eat the rich. So
yes. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I don't want to misquote anything, so I'm going to look at these again.
I like the last line says, "You won't survive in your slaughterhouse," right?
Yes.
Because this is the system that they built.
Yes.
And eye for
and
an
it's
eye,
failing,
right?
yes.
Like we're gonna take it back.
Yeah. It will collapse. It is literally only a matter of time. Historians have told us, like, what is happening in the United States right now parallels the fall of so many empires historically. Like, we're not just talking like a couple, like it is hundreds of empires throughout history that have had similar economic situations like what is happening in the United States right now. And they don't survive.
Right. Well, and I mean, really, it kind of applies to all of the Western world,
Yes.
but especially.
Yeah,
right? Like,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I love the fact that he says, you tell your stories of the things you've been through. And I mean, they like you said, they're all like, we're for the working class. We started at McDonald's or whatever. And you're just like, okay, I don't know why I'm supposed to feel bad for you.
Right.
But they're as false as the teeth that you lie through. The way our politics have been celebritized in the United States is unlike most other places, most other countries with similar systems as the United States. We look at our politicians as celebrities. We look at them as heroes versus villains. And that's weird. If you pay attention to other countries, nobody else does that.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at us and they're like, that's weird that you're like celebrating your politicians the way you are.
Right.
The whole MAGA train is a perfect example of that. Like, that is not normal behavior for a politician. That is not normal behavior for people backing a politician.
Right.
Like, that's not that.
You look at so many other countries and they're like, yeah, this is my representative, or, this is.
And they're like,
whoever.
oh, we don't like him anymore, so we're going to vote him out now.
Right. There's much less of a cult following in other countries than the US. And I just think of they said they're as false as the teeth that you lie through or breathe through.
They're as false as the teeth that you lie through.
Yeah. So just, I don't know if that's a nod back to like Washington having wood teeth, but or if it's just saying that all these people are, because they're paid so much and they're so wealthy.
But see, that's
that
the
they're all
parallel
cosmetic
I'm
as well.
making. That's
Okay.
the parallel I'm making, is that like these politicians are equated to a celebrity status. They, red carpet events. Kim Kardashian, what are you wearing? All I can think of are the Kardashians right now. This, that, or the other celebrity, tell me all about your clothes. Tell me all about all the lavishness that you've laid upon yourself.
Right.
And we now treat our celebrities, we now treat our politicians in the exact same manner. We expect them to behave in this exact same way of an entertainer.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're supposed to be managing, not entertaining. The facade that is created with celebrity culture and celebrity celebrity lifestyles.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that
of
makes sense.
the facade of perfection.
Right.
Down to the teeth.
Right.
Right. Like, I don't know. That's where I took it. That's
Right.
where I read it from.
Definitely.
Was
Yeah.
like veneers. Because if you talk to any quality dentist, they're going to tell you that veneers are actually really, really bad. And there's no point in grinding your perfectly healthy teeth down to little nubs. Ever. There's never a point in that. So I digress. Moving right along. We're not talking about dentistry right now. Very good song. I could talk about. There's a lot of underlying messages in this
a lot
song.
we could go through. Well, I mean, and all the different examples in like current political landscape of
Yes.
like who it could be talking about is so many people that like we could sit here for 2 hours and talk about every single person.
Yeah.
That says they're for the working class. And
Yes.
just go skin deep out to that. It's a lie.
Yeah.
You know, our president right now, Biden, always does his sob stories about his son, and
Yep.
yes, those are sad, those are tragic events, but he uses that as like a cop out to say like, I'm on your side, I'm here for everybody, and then doesn't actually apply any sort of political pressure to anybody. And you're like, oh, okay,
be sad with me. We're not going
Right.
to do anything about it.
sad
Let's
for
just
you, but
feel
like
our feelings.
this is your job, so let's do something.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and calling out fascists. We were just talking about the other day how bizarre it is that there was this huge movement against Antifa, and talking about how we didn't think people realized that what they were saying was they were in turn fascists.
Right.
Like if you're against anti-fascists,
anti-fascism, yeah,
you are then a fascist.
fascist.
And I don't think people understand that. I think, you know, again, not to go off on too many things, but I feel like, especially right now, a lot of people are tiptoeing around some of these things, and they're using analogies that are pretty obscure and sometimes kind of hard to break down as to like, oh, what are they talking about? Da, 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 da.
Right.
I feel like this laid it out very plainly. I mean, he
Pretty
might as
clear.
well have said, you know, Jeff Bezos.
Right.
he might as well have said police.
Right.
So it's like,
yeah,
there wasn't a lot of ambiguity in their wording, and I'm a big fan of that. I don't like beating around the bush. I don't like tiptoeing around these topics because I feel very passionately about these topics. Again, I'm not going to go off on it, but it's nice. It's nice to see someone with a fan base, but also, okay, it also makes me feel, because the fan base of Motionless in White is such a niche group of people. I feel like this is going to allow that very niche group of people to start thinking critically about what is happening around them. And it will start a very, very important conversation that might not necessarily be happening in all of those circles.
Well, and Chris has pointed out in other songs before, hypocrisy stuff, and different things of that nature. And so I do like the line, the one mutilation under God too, because there's so many people they're standing in churches and Christian faith to push a political opinion or to oppress other people. And first off, that's not what it's about anyways, but like that's what they're doing, you know? And so to call it out is I don't care who calls it out. I think everybody needs to call it out because it's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. It is terrible. Horrific things are happening under the guise of my religious protection, my religious freedom, my religious blah, 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 blah. And people are excusing really, really, really horrific behavior, saying that it's okay because it's for their church. It's okay because it's their religious belief.
Using the excuse of protecting their religious freedom.
Yeah.
It should stop there, but they're using that excuse to push things on people, or to get rid of other people's hypocrisy.
And that's fucked up, isn't it? He's like, oh my gosh.
All right. Anyways, like I said, or rather, like you said, we could talk about this for hours, and we're going to if we don't stop ourselves here.
Yes.
So
sound off below. What do you think? Was I officially too harsh the first time around with the song Disguise? Yes, I was. The answer is yes. Let us know what you think of this song. Do you like it? Are you not a fan of bands being this outspoken? because I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that. I like it a lot. Like it a lot. Let us know what you think. If you like what you saw, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And feel free to follow us on our other social medias. Links for everything are down in the description box below. And we will see you next time.